Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Happy New Year. Happy Saturday. Ooh, almost said Saturday. I'm all screwed up today. Happy Thursday. And welcome to 2026. This is the first sci-fi. Well, actually, this is the first full Sci-Fi Center Presents show of 2026. Obviously, we were on there with you throughout midnight. Bringing in a new year, bringing in some money for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I am your only host tonight. William Brad has family in town, and he's on the East Coast, and they're already in bed, so he will not be with me tonight. He will join us through the weekend shows, whichever ones we got going on there. This is going to be a real quick year in review, just basically going over what stood out to me for the year. We're going to talk about my favorite movie, favorite TV show, and favorite TV show, favorite comic book story. These are things that if you guys are regulars to the show, you probably already know the answer to. Mainly, this is to prod you guys into what you thought about 2025. Now that it's over, it's past us. Was not the greatest year, to be honest with you. It could have been better, but any life is like a plane crash. Any event you can walk away from, it's a good one. So we have walked out of 2025 and into 2026. Later on this weekend, probably for the weekend wrap-up show, we are going to discuss, at least, with all of us here, what am I looking forward to in 2026? Obviously, we have an Avengers movie. We have a Spider-Man movie. We have a Supergirl movie, Dune 3, Comic-Con. Let's hope that Comic-Con 2026 is better than what Comic-Con 2025 was. I'm going to WonderCon this year, and I'll be taking you guys with me camera wise this year. Star Trek's 60th anniversary is this year. I'll be at the Star Trek convention this year. WrestleMania is in, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the WWE product from day to day, anytime there's a WrestleMania in your town, it's a big event because a whole bunch of other stuff comes to your town wrestling wise. So I'll be at WrestleCon. I'll be at a lot of stuff. Looking forward to a big year. And then hoping mainly more than anything in 2026, besides less fucking rain, is that 2026 we achieve the same things, achieve a little bit more, and make it a little bit easier. 2025 just seemed like it was a lot harder than it should have been. So, all right. So I know I may not have the biggest audience tonight because, like I said, I was not planning on doing the show, and I told you guys I may or may not be on the air, but for those of you who will be watching this show later on, please like, subscribe, share the gospel, hit the alert button. So when I do pop up out of nowhere, you know I'm there. All right. Well, let's say hi to who is here, and then we'll go from there. Of course, the Duckman is there. Rational Skeptic. William, did you see Wonder Man trailer? I did not. I don't have a bunch of high hopes for that show. I'm just not feeling it, but This day, I'm really interested. Show looks like it's going to be good. Yeah, I don't doubt its quality. I just doubt my interest in it. But I'll give it a look. Hunter Eggy, question. No, I did not hear about this. This is the first time hearing about this. That's sad. I have not been following the news today because I've been following football and other sports. But yeah, I did not see that. Wow, that sucks. If that's true. Yeah, I don't see anything. I see the Swiss fire and yeah, I don't see anything about that. I'm not saying it's not true, but I just haven't seen anything about that. That sucks. I like Tommy Lee Jones, and no one should lose a daughter. Tommy Lee Jones. San Francisco Hotel. I'm just looking at this right now. I'm seeing it now. That sucks. No cause of death or anything. So no, just now hearing about that. That sucks. Yeah, I don't know what the hell it is with TMC. Maybe they have like an end with the Grim Reaper because they always report this shit first. For some reason, even numbers for me are bad, and for me, so I'm buckling up. 34. Wow, that sucks. Yeah. Who's going to get fired though? Most of these coaches that have bad coaches, to be honest with you, have bad organizations behind them. Like everybody's wondering if Tomlin's going to go if they lose to the Ravens or they lose in the first round or whatever, or they don't make the playoffs. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers organization are smarter than Pittsburgh Steelers fans sometimes that always cheer for this stuff. They need to get a better GM. They need to go out and do some work and get a quarterback for Mike Tomlin to do what he's had to, what he's been able to do, have winning seasons every year and make the playoffs every year with no star quarterback. That's something that you don't need to look over. And they need to, before anybody fires any coach, need to look and see if he can do better. It's not always the case. So now, the time goes on, I believe those weather machines in the cloud are true. Yeah, like I said, and I told everyone around me, stop trying to talk me into this bullshit. You are not going to talk me into this bullshit weather that we've been having here in Vegas for a few years. You're not going to, no, get away from me. It's not that bad. It's bad. I don't want to hear. We're done. All right. I don't want to hear about other places. I don't care if you came from a place where it rained and snowed 24/7. I chose not to live in that place. I chose the desert. I chose aridness. I chose sand. I chose heat. I chose occasional rain. I did not choose the Southern Nevada rainforest. So yeah, if there's a weather machine in there, I need to hack into it. I need to straighten things up. Hello, my favorite Australian. How are you doing, Aaron? You got a Georgia thing. Sorry, guy. Georgia went down tonight. I watched that game. That was a weird game, man. That was a weird game. Theaters for Stranger Things was the best experience ever. Yeah. I thought about it. Obviously, we had our marathon, so I was trying to raise money for charity. So I snuck it into my marathon, and I saw some of the reactions, and I just made the decision that I was going to go out the way I came in. I watched that show as a solitary thing, I mean, seeing it in the theaters, I guess would have been cool, but I just figured I would rather just be watching it live with on air because I hadn't had the chance to do it on air. But um, definitely was. There were certain moments in that even though when we were watching it on our stream here that I knew that a crowd was going to erupt. Like when Will took over Vecna, that last one where he says, "I'm not afraid of you," and they all gang up and kill him. I mean, that I really did like that scene, and I liked George Byers being the one to knock him off. And I thought they really did a good job in showing you the beginning. If, in case you were feeling sorry for poor little Vecna stuck on a spike, whatever, they showed you everything this motherfucker had done and everybody he had done it to. And it started with her because it was her kid being kidnapped, a horror for a parent to have their kid turn up missing. And then in season 2, where Sean Astin's character Bob, trying to save them, gets killed. So she's lost people. She's felt Vecna has damaged her more than anybody, and longer than anybody. And she took his head off. Boy, there are some things about the finale I did not like. As you guys were watching it with me, the last 40 minutes was tough. But I had already mentally checked out. Once I realized, that it was over. They had landed the plane. They just kept it on the tarmac too long. I really enjoyed Stranger Things season finale. But I am glad you had a good experience. The review with Drew 9322. That's very clever. That rhymes. Insert religion, space laser. You know what? Whatever religion it is, controlling the weather. We need to talk. Okay? Whatever religion it is that's controlling the weather, we need to talk. Yeah, that was a couple of days ago. 34 years old. 34 years old, fighting leukemia. My condolences goes to dude. The Kennedy family has had a lot of celebrity do it, but man, the tragedies that family has gone through, I wouldn't trade. I mean, from assassinations and deaths and untimely deaths. I mean, JFK Jr. dead at like not even 30, not even 40 years old. Him and his wife, Teddy Kennedy, obviously Robert and John F. Kennedy. RFK is his own tragedy, but he's still alive. So there you go. But yeah, Avenger Doomsday. I have fun with Avengers movies. I mean, like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan. The last two were very necessary for me, but I wasn't the biggest fan of what they ended up turning into. But now that they've been away for 6-7 years now, I'm ready. I'm ready for more Avengers movies, but I'm also ready for the Avengers to open up the door to the X-Men, to the Fantastic Four, to Spider-Man, and everything else. Because there's a lot of characters that are associated with just those 3 IPs I've given you right there that can make its own new MCU without ever having to see another Avenger again. And not a Vendetta, Ryan Coogler from Dusk Till Dawn. Took from Dusk Till Dawn and changed the settings to 1930s American style and called it a day. Nothing original about Center. Doesn't need to be original. I don't necessarily agree that Dusk Till Dawn. I've seen Dusk Till Dawn, and you're not the first one to say that. I watched Sinners over and over again, and I watched Dusk Till Dawn. I saw it in the movies when it came out. I don't feel the same vibe, so I disagree with people there when they say that. As far as if you took something from that and made it into the American South back there, that's the original part about it. That hadn't been, Dusk Till Dawn is not Sinners. Even if you think it might be inspired by Sinners, it was still a very unique movie. And even if it wasn't, listen, sometimes formulas work. And whatever they did in Sinners, it worked. I think Sinners is the best movie of the year. I just gave away one of my best stuff, but I think Sinners is the best movie of the year, but all film is subjective, though. Are you going to do a Who We Lost segment? Yes, we are. We are going to do part of the I had to really fight with myself over this because we recognize them as they pass. I mean, I think we've done not a good job, a job of of recognizing the people when they pass. We open up the show with it, but I will do a remembrance of. It won't be the very big segment. We'll go through some of these guys because when they passed, we took the time to commemorate them. But yeah, 2025 was a tough year for living and dying. That's for sure. The review, excellent news. My top 13 best movie 2025 video will premiere on my channel tonight. Hey, do me a favor, review with Drew. Send me a link. Google me, and you can send it to any of my social media, and I'll get it. Because I would like to take a look at that, and maybe even have you on the show one day. This is Cobra Weather. Cobra Weather, boy, you're old school. Remember that? Remember the Cobra Weather? Dude, listen. G.I. Joe was the greatest shit in the '80s, man. I love that show. Remember the Cubes of Darkness, the Pyramid of Darkness? All that stuff. The Further Adventures of G.I. Joe. I mean, Serpentor, I love those. But yeah, they had the weather controller, man. The thing was cool. I wish I had that bad boy. Because guess what, Vegas? Listen, if I had a weather controlling machine, tell you what, you want it to rain here in Vegas? Anywhere I'm not. How about that? Doesn't rain over my house, and it damn sure doesn't rain over my sci-fi center. And any routes that people need to get to me, like the roads and stuff like that, got to keep that dry. You want it to rain somewhere else? Fine. Don't care. Still rain on me. I don't think this, but once again, I'm not in the business of telling people, what they should think about a movie. I thought Sinners was the best movie of the year that I saw. I love Sinners. And it gave me I already respected Michael B. Jordan for the movies he's been into. Whatever respect I had escalated. I thought Sinners was the best movie of the year. What did you guys think was the best movie of the year? Yeah, well, I do think X-Men are going. I think the X-Men are going to die or cease to exist because you're not going to carry on with them. I think the whole point of Doomsday and Secret Wars is to give a goodbye to everything that has meant something to either the Fox universe or the MCU. Give you a real good feeling about one last shot, and then prime you and prep you for what they're about to do. I mean, we have to make room for a new X-Men, and I really hope that's the case. I don't want to see any leftovers from the Fox universe. I love the Fox X-Men universe. Not all the movies were the best, but the majority of them were. And Days of Future Past is one of the best comic book movies I've seen in my entire life. However, that was then. This is now. I'm ready for a new perspective on this. I'm ready for the MCU perspective on this. I'm ready for the MCU to take X-Men and do what they to them what they did to them with the Avengers. So. But yeah, I do agree. I think we're going to get a lot of callbacks, a lot of flashbacks, and these guys are all going to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Going to say Sinners is mastery. I agree with you. Like I said, I do have some people that think otherwise, but I love Sinners. I love Sinners. I still think it's the best movie of the year. You think so? For me, I think I could have used more. If you'd given me more of the third act of Sinners, I would have been A-okay with it because I didn't want it to end. However, I thought what we got was perfect. But once again, this is how I feel. My opinions are my own, guys. Ozzy, are we going to be doing the best and worst television? I think we're gonna wrap. I think we're gonna wrap that up on Sunday. I see when it comes to worst from you guys, I use my radar to keep away from some of the shit that I don't want to bother with me. I guess we'll wrap it up with disappointing. And some of the shows I'll have on that list weren't disappointing as a whole, but they had disappointing landings. Watching the Major League Baseball channel replay of my Dodgers winning back-to-back World Series. So William, apparently rumor that Marvel wants to do more with Hugh Jackman Wolverine projects. I believe that is I believe those projects are going to be Doomsday and Secret Wars. I don't think he's going to be Wolverine beyond that. I heard the quote said, "When are you done with Wolverine?" He said, "Well, maybe, maybe not." But when he gives that ambiguity, I believe he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday, and I believe he's going to be in Avengers Secret War. And I think that's where a lot of these counterparts will make their first appearance. Like, I believe at the end of Secret Wars, that you may see a new Wolverine. But I don't think beyond. I don't think you'll see a lot of these old school characters beyond Secret Wars. I think the whole point is to move on from them. Sinners had real good creep factor, especially when the vampires first tried to get into the club. Yeah. Disappointing, very diplomatic and kind. What are you describing, Ozzy? All right, so best TV show for me this year was from beginning to end was it Welcome to Derry. It Welcome to Derry was a worthy addition to the Stephen King universe in regards to that saga. Hold on for a second. I had a graphic. Yeah, it Welcome to Derry from didn't really have too many weak moments in it. It definitely had the strongest ending of any show that I watched this year. It had a stronger ending than Peacemaker for sure. It had a stronger, more fulfilling ending than Alien Earth. And as much as I love Stranger Things, it had a much more solid ending than Stranger Things. Stranger Things had a good ending, don't get me wrong. But it Welcome to Derry's last episode packed a way more efficient punch than any other show that I watched this week. It starts with the grossness and it never lets up. It never lets up. The intensity is there. The pacing on every one of these episodes was perfect. I never found myself looking at my clock wondering, okay, when is this going to be over? As a matter of fact, it was the exact opposite. I wanted more when it was over. Bill Skarsgård does a great job as Pennywise. Those child actors are some of the best child actors I've ever seen in this show. They do a awesome job. If you are a Stephen King fan and you are familiar with the works of Stephen King, this show was a treat for you because it tied into things that were big things and things that were little things. It even made The Shining, a movie that I dread watching again. It made The Shining even more relevant to me because of obviously some of the people that are in there. The person, Scott Van Cutler's character. I always forget his name, but and there's a lot of other things. If you have read Stephen King's novels and you watch his movies, that they gave you a lot of, that's literally the prototypical Easter egg type of show. But Welcome to Derry was the best show of the year for me. Honorable mentions were everything else. Alien Earth was good, didn't stick to landing as well. Peacemaker was good, didn't stick to landing. And I am behind on a lot of my shows. I still got to watch Fallout. Fallout could have probably killed some of these, outright, but I just haven't got a chance to watch it yet because I've been busy. But there you go. That's my favorite show of the year. What about you guys? What was your favorite show this year? Oh yeah, I did see that. The Dodgers had something like that. I think all of MLB did, but yeah, everybody got. Listen, they had a special event here the other night. with Stranger Things cast. Some of the people, Vecna showed up, I think. Yeah, Vecna did show up. He was here in Vegas on the Strip. I didn't get a chance to go because I had already made plans, but I got the invite. I just didn't go. So yeah, they marketed the shit out of Stranger Things, and they did it. They did it through sports leagues too. But Stranger Things is one of those special shows, man. Welcome to Derry did the whole story arc and wasn't a setup. Yeah, and in all fairness, everything in Welcome to Derry, because of where it takes place, it's already been set up. So yeah, but I liked it. Yeah, everything about it was creepy. That fucking song, dude. I mean, the song is something. They were doing something. They were talking to Andy Muschietti. He heard that song somewhere, and there's a story behind that song and why he used it. And then the imagery is just like, wow, my goodness. But the imagery was consistent with the show. I love that show. I mean, that's the best show of the year. All right, who else out here had it? I like to say, if you're not watching live, which is going to be the vast majority of you, leave your favorite show in the comments. I'll respond to it. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I just don't get the feeling whenever I think of Andor that it was this year. It was this year. Like I didn't put that list ever. Now that I think about it, I am still gonna go with Welcome to Derry. I'm still gonna go with Welcome to Derry as my favorite show of the year. But Andor is right there. I don't even know. That's what happens when you put these shows together on the fly. Andor is some of the best Star Wars out there. Andor is in its own way far different from what Welcome to Derry was. Is some of the best stuff on screen. Period. Speaking of Skarsgård, my two favorite shows of the year were both His Stellan Skarsgård, his father, plays Luthen Rail. And if you guys have hesitated watching Andor, thank you for bringing that up. I don't know how, because I just jumped on the internet. Daredevil Born Again, I had some issues, but Andor, and a lot of what Andor for me is, I think of Andor as a whole story. I think of seasons 1 and 2, because some of the best speeches. Google Luthen Rail's speech about Google the "What Have I Sacrificed" speech. I watch that speech about every 2 weeks, maybe. It's like, what have I sacrificed? Kindness, calm, kinship. You know, I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life for sunset I'll never see. I just love it. So Andor is definitely up there. I might wake up in a couple of days and Andor might be the best thing that came to me in 2025. But Andor just feels like it was so far away. But no, Andor definitely. Daredevil Born Again. I don't know. I got some issues with that show. I hope they tighten that ship up next year. But the best thing about Daredevil Born Again was the Punisher, though. That scene with him and Frank, when it was just him, Matt Murdock, and Frank Castle going at each other. Daredevil Born Again started off strong, but it kind of tailed for me. Yeah, and the best thing about Andor is that you can take this. If you're not into Star Wars, you don't have to be into Star Wars at all. You do not have to be into Star Wars. To be honest, yeah, it's Star Wars reference, Death Star, all that kind of stuff, right? Andor is a war story. Andor is a spy story. And Andor is a story about faceless sacrifices. You really don't have to have ever been into Star Wars to enjoy Andor. Andor's on a level that all moviegoers and all showgoers can get on without knowing the history. Now, is it better when you know the history? Oh, of course. Because we hear about Luke, we hear about Leia, we hear about Darth Vader, we hear about all the big names towards the end of the story, but we don't hear about the nameless and faceless people that sacrifice themselves before. And you know that in any war, whether it be a hot war, a cold war, there are people who make that ultimate sacrifice that you'll never hear about. And that's what Andor shows you. So I think you could get into Andor without even being in the Star Wars. Yeah, that intro's creepy, man. And it's creepy, and it's just, yeah. What's going on, Larry? Happy New Year. Best films for me were Sinners, Eddington. Best series were It, Body Problem, and Pluribus. Okay. Have not started Pluribus. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take a look at it. All right. My favorite show of this year, whoa, it's a tough. It's edged. Was It? Welcome to Derry. That's a recency bias thing, but Andor, wow, I might have to revisit my decision. But those two, I don't know what my year would have been without it. Welcome to Derry. So I'm gonna go. Well, I'm gonna go with Sinners. Like I said, I already talked about it, but Sinners for me was the best movie of the year. To me, I have not seen a movie that has matched what Sinners meant to me. Like I said, everybody's going to have their movie, and like I said, the cool thing about movies is, I say there's never a wrong answer when it comes to what was your favorite movie of the year, unless it's Ace Ventura or some shit like that. But then again, even that's yours. Everything went right for me when it came to Sinners. It touched me in a different way. Obviously, being a person of color, even though this was almost 100 years ago, it still kind of like triggers me to hear and see how they were treated and see what they had to go through just to have a good time. In Mississippi in 1930s, when it was dangerous to be black, and then you had these tough guys coming in, not scared of anything, fearless, doing their thing. I thought this was the best. This is the best Michael B. Jordan performances since Creed, the first Creed. And I actually think those are better. I love the way they established the folklore in this movie. I legit, when I saw when I saw Sinners, there was people who had seen it multiple times, and when they did that river dance, I shit you not, black folks were in the aisles doing the river dance, and I'm like, wow. I love the villain. I wish I could have got more of him, Remick, the villain, but I got enough. I would love to see more of this folklore. I don't need a sequel to Sinners, but if you want to explore the folklore of all the other things and all the other beasts and demons and stuff that go along, in that environment, I'm all for it. What else was that? I mean, and as far as vampire movies goes, as somebody who's seen every fucking vampire movie and every zombie movie and every this movie, every that movie, it's really hard to throw something at me that was new. Now, some of you in the chat, like before earlier in the game, say that it reminded you of Dusk Till Dawn. I just don't feel it. I can respect that opinion. I just don't feel it. I don't think it's anything like Dusk Till Dawn. I thought the stakes were a lot higher in Sinners. I thought the emotional attachment to the environment was stronger in Sinners. Dusk Till Dawn was a fun movie. Don't get me wrong, but Sinners was something else. And for there to be a movie like this in all my years of watching vampire movies, that was just unique. I thought that was a hard thing to do. Michael B. Jordan playing two different people with two different temperaments and two different sets of goals. Haley Berry, I kind of dismissed her because she's just in stuff, and I don't hate her or nothing. But this is the longest thing I've actually sat and watched her, be that much of a part of. But the folklore, everything that's going on in 1932 Mississippi, vampires, supernatural, I thought this was as close to perfect as I got to a movie this year. So Sinners was my favorite. What was yours, guys? Oh yeah. That everybody forgets about them. That was hilarious. Because the first thing you see in the movie is Remick being chased by Native Americans who have figured out what he is, and they're trying to warn people because basically what Remick was doing is trying to use each type of people's music to reunite with his people, the magic that is in their music, which is what he was trying to do with Sammy. but I am assuming that he infiltrated the American, the Native American tribe, and they figured out that he was evil and chased him out. So yeah, that be interested in see how that went down. Let's see. Yeah, we did. We watched Spinal Tap 2 here, didn't we? Then obviously, yeah, with Rob Reiner passing away, put the unfortunate spotlight. Let's see. Top 3 show 2025, Cobra Kai. Welcome to Derry and Bear Born Again. I don't watch Cobra Kai, but it's a popular show, so that's good. We both watched Daredevil, and these are shows that we watch together on this channel. So Daredevil Born Again, like I said, I think there's a lot of room for improvement in that show. I just hope they don't clutter the show. That the way they ended the first season was, William, did you like? No, I did not. No, I did not. And they got worse for me as they went along. The whole werewolf vampire hybrid thing that they were doing. Yeah, wasn't never been a big fan of that series. I was more disappointed with Peacemaker than I was with Alien Earth. Because Alien Earth pretty much ended up in the place that I would have done more, but I'm okay with it. It's not what I wanted. With Peacemaker's disappointment, they had the potential to do a lot more, and they teased a lot more, and it just didn't really feel like I got, the full gamut of what we could have done with what he introduced. Well, fun fact: Wesley Snipes' Blade Underworld crossover as well was in the works. Ugh. We were saved. That's all I can tell you. Sorry, I haven't seen it. All right. So best movie, Sinners. Best TV show, just barely edging out Andor was It Welcome to Derry. All right. So I don't think you guys have to guess too hard what the best comic story of the year was for me. If you do, this has to be your first time here. This has to be your first time here if you are. The entire line is great, but when it comes to best overall comic book series of the year for me, as far as what I'm reading, Absolute Batman is untouched. We are 15, 16 issues into this universe, and they're getting better with each one. Absolute Batman might be the best written ongoing stretch of Batman that I've read since I've been a collector. And I've read a lot of Batman. And I will say the same for Wonder Woman, to be honest with you. As far as regular stretches of story, what's going on in Wonder Woman is the best stretch I've had in that comic as far as the readership goes. Now, when it comes to Green Lantern and Absolute Flash and Martian Manhunter, they're, in my opinion, obviously Flash has had bigger stories. Wonder Woman, or Green Lantern, you've had Emerald Twilight, you've had all the Kai Raylan years. Those other books are still unique, but as far as like being the best of their genre, being the best of that character, Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman are in the golden era for them right now, as far as I'm concerned. I know all of you are not necessarily comic book fans, but you probably heard of it. Nah, I don't have any Archie comics anymore. I used to have some when I was a kid. Daredevil's your favorite show? All right. The Boys, I've been watching The Boys. I haven't been as attached to The Boys as a lot of people are. I did not think this last season was that great. I thought that Anthony Starr stood out, obviously, more so than he has in previous seasons because of what he's going through mentally. But I thought the rest of the show was kind of blah. My Stranger Things review, like I said, when it comes to Stranger Things, it gave me a satisfying ending to the series. And as long as I just, I can, when I watch it again, when I watch episode 8 again, I just cut it off when I have 40 minutes left because that last 40 minutes is kind of worthless. It doesn't kill the show experiences for me because I can just stop remembering at that point. I didn't need any of that. Okay, I didn't need Hopper proposing to her. I could just get married, show up again, and you're married. I didn't need the old Friends cast sitting on top of the roof of the building, drinking a beer, making a beer commercial. Didn't need that. The whole D&D thing, he could have basically did that in a wrap up in the last 5 minutes. There's a lot of just the graduation scene was completely worthless to me. So yeah, if you're looking at it that way, yeah. But as far as by the time we got to those drag parts, the show had already landed for me. The show had already achieved everything that I wanted it to achieve. It had already resolved the stories that I wanted wrapped up and answered the questions that I really wanted to have answered. Now, are there other things like that they left kind of like just out there, like where the fuck happened with Linda Hamilton's character, General K? Where you at? But nothing that really messed with the foundation of the show. So I did not see this movie. I know it's huge, but I did not see it. Yeah, we'll probably be promoting it. Yeah, we'll probably be promoting it. I'm looking forward to it. It's based on a story that I enjoy. It's based on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, a story that you guys, if you watch this show for a while, you've seen me held that up in high regard. I do like Tom King as a writer, even though he's made some questionable decisions with Wonder Woman. I get it, but I've rather enjoyed that story a lot, and I've been trying to get people to read it for years now, and now that it's becoming a movie, that task is going to be a lot easier for me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Supergirl World tomorrow. I'm looking more forward to Lanterns than anything else, but I'll take what I can get. Thirsty. Okay, that's a tough question. In its totality, if I am one went 10 years, one went 5, or one went 10 seasons and one went 5. So if we're talking about in the totality of the entirety of their season, it has to be Stranger Things, because half of the 10-year run for X-Files, in my opinion, wasn't good. After season 4, it just became, a cliche show to me, and that it wasn't special anymore after season. I mean, it had its moments, but Stranger Things, I have my least favorite season, and I have my favorite season, but they're all good. I can't say that for X-Files. Season 6 and 7 of X-Files to me are not the best. They kill 20 military and they just let it go. I'm not even going to attempt to dispute that. Well, what were they going to do with them? The only way for the military to go after them would be to publicize what they were doing in Hawkins to begin with. They would have to have an explanation for what they were doing, and if you were growing up in that era, the military did a lot of things to prevent widespread panic, especially with the gateway closed permanently. What was going to be had by prosecuting him? Nothing. Really excited about the X Files. I am cautiously optimistic about the X Files. I want to see what direction he takes this in. Then I'll be on board. What's up, Stephen Ortega? How have you been? Happy New Year. Yeah, we were outside. We streamed it live. If you watched the end of the show, I think the end of the show got cut off because we were on for 12 hours. If you if you go back and watching us live, I was outside in the rain watching the fireworks on both the strip to the left of me and to the right of me. I had downtown fireworks. All right, 6 feet. 6 feet under is a good show. It's weird, but it's good. All right, so they weren't bad, but they weren't X-Files to me. It was them. The biggest problems I had with this show after season 5, especially when Mulder took off for all that time, we needed a new focus. I think the first 5 years told us everything we needed to know. We experienced everything we needed to experience with the cigarette smoking man, the black ooze, the colonization, the shapeshifters. All that stuff came to a head in season, I think, 4 or 5. After the red and the black, that episode, you start getting the questions answered that you've been chasing for the 5 years. And then they had a movie. So everything about that chase, the biggest thing about X-Files first 5 seasons, the intrigue, was the pursuit. Once the pursuit was over, the pursuit was part of the identity of those two individuals. So they just needed to do other things, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was X-Files after a while. That's just me. Hey, listen, it was getting ratings and it stayed on for 10 years. I would have cut it a little bit shorter, but hey, you are not the only person who likes those episodes. It's just not me. Yeah, he was in 6 feet under. Wow. I'm still gonna say Dune 3. I think Dune 3 is gonna be something special. So right now, Dune 3. That could all change though. Or even Patriot Acts, just jail the cast and never put them. That's still Patriot Acts. People still get found out about, Patriot Act got exposed, and there was no reason to it. Those men didn't mean anything to her, and why the military was not going to create a spectacle that drew attention to all that. They can easily write those soldiers' deaths off as combat and all kinds of other stuff. There was nothing to be gained by going after and incarcerating them. And plus, they were doing illegal shit to begin with, by the way. There's most likely when you have black ops and stuff like that, it's done under the auspices of other things. They're probably not going to Congress and telling them what they're doing. They're probably getting money for something else and then rerouting it, which is illegal. So it probably didn't do them any good to go after them. That's what I feel. Yeah, I watched 6 Feet Under when it first was on HBO. Uh-oh. What would be a great spinoff, Stranger Things? It would move to Montauk based off the Montauk Project. I think that's what's happening with Hopper. That may be how they're leaving the door open for that. Worst Television, Alien Earth, Peacemaker, and the whole WWE. Oh yeah, WWE project is definitely up there. It's definitely up there. I mean, they had some good matches and good moments, but nothing, spectacular in my opinion. So far, Cougar hasn't said if Mulder and Scully is returning. I wouldn't even mind if they returned, but it's not them. It's two other young agents that are doing X Files. I don't even mind if Mulder is like a high up position in the FBI or something like that, and he's in charge of the X Files. But I need it to be two new different people, and I needed to be listen, when X Files was about the mythology and the aliens, it was great, but they can tell other stories. I mean, you saw it in the interim episodes when every other episode had the cigarette man in it, but the ones that didn't told stories that were okay. It's just that, for me, I just wanted to see the mythology until I found out what was going on. But now, 20, 30 years later, I think Kugler's got a great mind. It's not going to be. It's not going to be. It's going to have competition because obviously when you have a Christopher Nolan film coming out that's this big and stars everyone. I mean, if you're not in Dune, you're in the Odyssey, and in some cases you're probably in both. So I don't think it's going to get snubbed, as in it's going to get nominated. But who knows? I would think this will be the one that wins it for him. But the Oscars, as we've discussed many times in this show, they do some goofy shit. There's been plenty of times where I thought a movie should have either been nominated or won, and I haven't been alone. And then you see what gets nominated and you see what wins. You're like, what pile of cocaine did these people have their nose cavities buried in? So I will be aggravated if it's a great movie and it does get nominated. Be aggravated, but I won't be surprised. My expectations for the Oscars are low. Flavor's first episode was good. Snyder is still the blueprint for some of the Dawn of the Dead car driving shots, while the hive mind people were following her. Yeah, it's just yeah. Six Feet Under was one of those shows that kind of creepy. Obviously, it's about more taste, but it was really good and really well done. Earth or Earl. Do you think Warner Brothers and Netflix deal will ruin movie theaters? No, and I've explained this at length before. I think that people are using what Netflix has always been as a barometer to kind of try to foresee or foretell what this new company would be, and I don't think that's an accurate barometer to do that with. Once they acquire Warner Brothers, it's a totally different ball game. All the stuff Ted Sarandos said about theatrical this, theatrical that was as a Netflix and only the Netflix CEO. Now we're talking about a completely different company with completely different apparatuses, different revenue streams that he benefits from keeping the theaters open for. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, theaters themselves might do themselves in, but it won't be the studios that do it for them. Hey, Weeds was actually a TV show. Aaron. Creepy Brad is not here to shield you from this. I have no desire to see another Mortal Kombat movie, so I'm going to sit that one out. Yeah, Weeds was a show. I think Mary Louise Parker was in it as a. It's kind of like Breaking Bad, but not violent. Well, the killing. Well, there is killing, but not her. Yeah, creepy Brad. All right, so my like I said, my year in review, actually, best movie, best movie standards, best comic book is Absolute Batman. Best TV show is Welcome to Derry, but wow, if I look in the rear mirror, I can see Andor. Um, I mean, for those of you who are into wrestling, Wrestle Dynasty from about almost a year ago, but it was back in 2025. By the way, that match between Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd was one best match of the year, and it was the best match of the year. If you're a wrestling fan and you have not seen Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd, you are robbing yourself of happiness. How excited am I to see Keanu Reeves and Beyond? Not at all. I think if you have the apparatus of the modern making storytelling that you have now, you don't need a Beyonder. Beyonder is a character. They did it a lot in the 80s. They made these monolithic, omnipotent characters because they just didn't. They ran into a wall writing a character, but you don't need that with the modern storytellers we have and all the content that we've had since the Beyonder first appeared 40 some odd years ago. I don't watch romantic comedies. Very funny, Clint. My best ugly stepsister in Eddington. Okay. William, do you think the variety of wrestling promotion was better in the 80s or right now? Oh, well, the 80s. Well, not really, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, no, now. I'm going to say now. I'm sorry. The 80s, you had the two main ones of the 80s were NWA or WCW and WWE, and it stayed that way for quite a while. You had other wrestling promotions, but they weren't anywhere near. Then you had ECW in the 90s, but that really didn't last long. You've always had New Japan, but it didn't become as prominent as it did until the late 2000s and early 2000 teens. I would have to say now because you have WWE, you have TNA, and anybody who wants to make fun of TNA, they are still around and they still pay. So TNA, you have AEW, you have CMML, you have New Japan. You have a lot of different wrestling companies out there, and then with the way the contracts work now, these people can go on indies and make some money there. So like a GCW could have a big star walking through the door. So I would have to say it's better now. Okay, we're going on opinion here. We're going that for me, Absolute Batman is I thought Absolute Batman is the best comic of the year. I stand by that. Black Star Afro. What was your favorite comic of the year? How about that? You're going to watch Peaky Blinders movie when it comes out in March. Depends on how busy I am. Yep, GCW baby. How you doing, Joseph? William, the ongoing rumor has been that Keanu Reeves is playing Beyond. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Russo brothers, but I hate that character. I really hope they stay away from that character. You don't need to be Yonder though, because you're going to enter this thing with Doctor Doom. You have Loki. See, when you first did Secret Wars back in the 80s, you didn't have a storyteller Loki. You have that now. So you don't need the Beyonder because the Beyonder, and you have Doom. Doom takes his powers from the Beyonder's powers, and in one of the most iconic Secret Wars covers of all time. But you don't need that now because he can get those same type of powers from Loki. Beyonder's a lame character. Sorry. Hot take: Killing Joke is overrated. See, now you're just fucking with me. But whether something is overrated, guys, is going to depend on the beholder. If I put out something and I think it's the greatest thing of all time, you watch and you think it's overrated, then that's how you feel. That's not a wrong answer. I think Christopher Nolan is overrated. I get a lot of hate for that, even though I'm not trying to pick a fight. I've seen his movies. I see where he's held in society, and I'm like, I don't see that. Respected director, great, but I don't see him. When I look at the Batman trilogy, his trilogy, I don't regard it that highly. To me, his Batman trilogy is narrowed down to 47 minutes, all of which have Heath Ledger on them. But if somebody wants to come and tell me that Nolan's a goat, they can go ahead and say that. Just not for me. I'm going to go on record again and say the last Ronin is the best Ninja Turtles best turtle story in about 30 years. My hot take: do not discount anyone else's take. Yeah, that's what it is. I always say when people try to, when you get into these film arguments and stuff, and I'll make fun of films. Obviously most of Brad's garbage ass movies that he likes to watch, I think, are fucking trash. But you know what? They made Brad happy, so there you go. It's really, it comes down to the 3 M's for me. The 3 M's. It is your money. It is your moment. It is your memory. How you perceive these movies, how you take them in, is the most important opinion of all. That's why I always tell people, you know what? I mean, unless it's your ride or die who's been with you to a bunch of movies and knows your sensibilities, I don't listen to outsiders. They can't live that experience for you. They can't live that movie for you. Only you can do that. Well, critics are experts. So do you want an expert opinion? No, there is no bigger expert opinion for me on what I like than me. So there you go. Hot take: Star Wars 77 rated the Larg. Okay. I think you're trying to troll me with the Blade Runner one, but that's fine. See, things like that don't bother me because I know what Blade Runner means to me, and each of you guys are going to have a movie that means something to you that may not resonate with everybody else, but that still doesn't make it anything less special than you. This is their fans of the 1980. What doesn't mean we're getting the Beyonder, and if they don't, they may not need the Beyonder. You can do what they did with the Beyonder in the comics with different characters. I don't think we're going to see the Beyonder. I think the Beyonder is a horrible option for a big screen. I mean, he's lame on paper, so yeah. All mine are hot compared to you guys. Everything that comes out of my Some people think that. Some people think the Batman is not a good movie. I love it. So. My hot take on number 4 is good and Petro is good. Okay, now there's definitely not a hot take on a troll. Because that movie was not good. William, I truly think Blade Runner is a cinematic masterpiece. I am with you. It boggles me that people just didn't realize. Well, yeah, there's a lot of movies that Ridley Scott has done that got released and people didn't get them, didn't understand it. Legends is another one that is thought of in a higher regard than it was at the time. Sometimes you have a vision that, not everybody is keeping up speed with you. think we need to get back to watching movies and get away from these YouTube reviews. Because they did not watch a movie to enjoy. They do it to be first, and well, yeah, it's their job. It's their job. That's why when I hear a critic's review about something, I immediately dismiss it because we're all going to the movies to get what we want out of it, to get how they feel. And each of these films are going to touch all of us in a different way. You know, like I said, I really believe in the 3Ms because no critic can live that moment for you. No critic can experience how you're feeling when those credits roll. Yeah, movies are they are something you can do in a group with people, but they're also an experiential thing that comes down to how you feel about the movie. So I will give you my review, but I will give you I won't give you necessarily a recommendation. Go out and see this because it's going to hit you a different way, and I'm never going to guarantee you're going to feel the same way that I feel about a movie, and vice versa. So yeah, everybody's got to experience these things for themselves. Troll 1000. Well, no, this one, Dark Knight Rises, is more interesting and rewatchable than Dark Knight. I mean, once again, that's kind of a tough one because if you take Heath Ledger out of the Dark Knight, I don't watch that movie. You guys know, I have a version of the Dark Knight that is only Heath Ledger seen because that's the only thing in that movie that means anything to me. I thought that movie was kind of pointless. When he's not on the screen, everything that doesn't work for a Nolan Batman movie just comes to the surface there. Yeah, I heard this. I mean, how long has he got left? But the same reason why he's putting here is the same reason we should have had a Matrix movie. A Matrix Resurrection movie. Wrestle Kingdom starts at 11 p.m. for you, and Sunday for you is 7 a.m. And tell me, are you going to do a watch party for it? We can have a lot of it. But yeah, I think I am going to do. We're not. I don't think I'm going to do a Saturday overnight live show because I will not be available earlier in the evening. And Wrestle Kingdom for me, for those of you who know, I'm a massive wrestling fan, and I am a massive IWGP New Japan fan. This belt is as the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, autographed by Jay White. And you've seen my belts collections, so I love New Japan Pro Wrestling, so I will be watching that live. And this is going to be a special one. It's Tanahashi's last match. I get some other things in there I want to see. I'm very interested in the Yota Tsuji match between him and Takeshi. I think it's going to be one of the best matches of the year. So yeah, we'll get together, Ozzy. About to wrap it up here. It is because people are not reviewing the movie. They're ranting about how they do not like a director actor student. Yeah, and here's the thing, though. I try to make this easier on myself and talk about things I like. That's why I don't have a worst of list a lot of times because if I'm not getting a vibe, one arm is huge, bigger than the other. It's just at a different angle. If I don't get the vibe that I'm going to enjoy something, I just don't want to waste my time on it. Like if they made an Ace Ventura 4 or 5, whatever, I'm not going to waste my time. I know I'm not going to enjoy it. And so why do a stream about things I don't like? You know, life's too short. Nah, the story should have been executed. Listen, dude, early is subjective. I mean, I work 100 hours a week. I have to be able to maintain. I have to get rest. You don't want me passing out in bad health. Sorry. I tried that. I tried that on a couple of days ago because it's on HBO Max now. I tried to get into one battle after another, and it just keeps losing me. And like I said on the show a couple of days ago, I'm gonna need to take a couple of days where I clear my head and give it another shot because everybody tells me what a great movie it is. I got it in 15 minutes and I'm like, I was ready to do something else. I was easily distracted. So maybe I just need to buckle down because it might be an Oscar contender if we watch the Oscars this year. William Cannon said he also wants to do an Avatar spinoff. Shows Disney. I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure he does. Yes, I did. Oh, we're talking about Drago. People are saying the best movie of the decade. Come on, man. No way. Not bad, but nowhere near that good. Yeah. One battle after another. I'll finish it eventually. It just wasn't for me. All right, guys. I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Anybody who has any comments, like when you're watching during a decent hour, that you want to throw down and tell me what you thought was great about 2025, what you're looking forward to. In fact, tell me what you're looking forward to in 2026, so that way when I get to the Saturday or the Sunday night weekend wrap up, we can have some comments from you, the viewers, about what you are thinking. Because, like I said, it's not all about us. This is a two-way conversation that I love having with you guys as many times as I can have it. So contribute, like, subscribe, hit the alert bell, share the links, share the gospel. If you think you have somebody in your circles that might enjoy being part of our geek conversation, invite them in. All right, and like I said, there you go. Now I'm actually a little bit tired. Do an open pound. Might do an open pound on Sunday. Who knows? Might do an open pound on Sunday because Sunday's show will start earlier, so we actually get it going there. So, all right, guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for being the best part of this experiment. And I'm gonna go eat some ribs, eat some pie, leftover pie, and then I'm gonna go to bed and get this weekend thing going. Have a nice, good start to your new year. Bye.